Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to record this video because in the last 24 hours I have had the privilege and been privy to a Spotify link that a colleague sent me detailing very many podcasts from two really quite eminent and well-known midwives in our industry. Dr. Rachel Reed, who has a PhD and is a very experienced midwife, and Katie James, who is a midwife and lactation consultant. And together with their wonderful humour, they have put together a series of podcasts that really helps us as birth workers to remember what we learnt about straightforward physiological birth and to really discuss it in that why doesn't everybody know this kind of way? And they've been quite topical and selected particular topics that are important and very now. So things like induction of labour, the postnatal period, and even topics that might be a bit more abstract to some people, like women's rite of passage and how, as women, our birth, even our own birth, shapes us as we go through the seasons of our life, and how that can have some impact on how we grow up as women. And even thinking about when our periods start, what was going on around that may or may not shape our experience of when we first started to bleed, and how all of that seems to shape us, and how we go through very different phases known as seasons. So for example, I'm going through the season now of menopause, so I'm becoming I'm coming into the autumn of my life and becoming, a different kind of woman, a woman that may be experiencing, more in the way of wisdom, with her children now beginning to forge their own paths in life. It's kind of an opportunity for me to really explore who I am as a practitioner and what I want to bring and what I want to do going forward. But as importantly, it really helped me to reconnect with how women are still treated in maternity services, and how there are, on the one hand, a wonderful collective of midwives who are incredibly supportive, very parent-centred, very person-centred, kind, skilled, enabling midwives, and those practitioners who may be struggling with a system, with a patriarchy, with seemingly strict policy around how women are enabled to give birth. And it also helped to clarify the nebulous nature of obstetrics, whereby we do need medicine, absolutely, for those women who present to us with very individual care needs, healthcare needs, and medical indications that absolutely need appropriate attention. And I think what these podcasts really helped me to connect with was this idea that the nebulous nature of obstetrics is such that we are having our babies much, much more in the hospital setting. The majority of birthing people are birthing in the hospital, and those lines around when it's appropriate to intervene are becoming so blurred. And also just understanding that actually obstetric doctors are not necessarily that well versed in really appreciating when to step back, because they are in their own way incredibly skilled and experienced practitioners at dealing with when things do not work out in the right way. But the nuances of what women experience and how women go through the process just seems to have been so lost. And so what these two wonderful women really, really drill down to is saying, right, we need to understand, everybody needs to understand that a woman has the rite of passage to be undisturbed, to be minimally intervened with to absolutely make decisions that are right for her, or for the birthing person in the unit or the birth centre or wherever, and that we really need to stop interfering when the situation doesn't necessarily warrant it. And that seems to buck against hospital policy, against what's appeared to be an evidence base, what appears to be an evidence base. And in talking about that, actually, how difficult it is to look at research in a way that is always valid and always reliable, because in obstetrics, in maternity services, women experience the whole process so individually, and there are so many confounding factors that sometimes inadvertently, perhaps not always, the evidence base can be laced with bias. It can be confusing. There is so much to unpick, and when it comes to trying to understand the hypothesis, are we skewing things needlessly with statistics that may seem to or appear to stack up to give us a reasonable answer in many respects, and that's the point about research. But sometimes it just makes the whole thing seem so much more complex. And maybe what we need to be doing, actually definitely what we need to be doing, is getting back to a culture of enabling those women who really are, those birthing people who really are genuinely straightforward, to just have that experience and just to normalize and to find a little bit more definition around what actually is straightforward and physiological and what really does require intervention, medical intervention, and to somehow find a way of enabling the evidence base to reflect that, rather than it just being this confusing and frightening world of what ifs and risk aversion and threat of litigation, and all of it is equally as important. It's just that something must be so wrong that women are continually entering this incredible phase of their lives, parents, birthing people, to just be confronted by fear and angst and worry about what if. So yeah, I will put the Spotify link under this YouTube video so that you can all pop on and just see what you think. Just gives us all a chance and a pause for reflection to really consider how we all individually try to make even just the smallest of change in just one set of birthing parents. Anyway, thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye.